Hello, my name is Quentin Mayberry. Today we'll be discussing the Roy Adaptation Model. Sister Callista Roy is a Catholic nun. She's also a nursing professor, a nursing theorist, and an author. She's most notable for her work on the Roy Adaptation Model and was designated a living legend by the American Academy of Nursing in 2007. She received her bachelor's degree at Mount St. Mary's College for nursing in 1963, her master's degree in pediatric nursing at UCLA in 1966, her master's and her doctorate in sociology at UCLA later in the 70s. She also went to the University of California as a postdoctoral fellow. Roy's most impactful contribution by far to the field of nursing is the Roy Adaptation Model. The Roy Adaptation Model was introduced in the 1970s. Since the introduction of Roy's Adaptation Model, it's been used all over the world and can be found being taught in the classroom from the United States all the way to Japan. She's written over 100 publications, which include 11 books. Roy's theory was created to answer three central questions. Who is the focus of nursing? What is the target of nursing? And when is nursing care indicated? An overview of Roy's adaptation theory is as follows. The purpose of Roy's adaptation theory is stated as, quote, the promotion of adaptation for individuals and groups in each of the four adaptive modes, thus contributing to health, quality of life, and dying with dignity, end quote. Some of her theoretical assertions are as follows. The person continually experiences environmental stimuli. Ultimately, a response is made and adaptation occurs. This response may be either an adaptive or ineffective response. Adaptive responses promote integrity and help the person to achieve goals of adaptation. That is, they achieve survival, growth, reproduction, and mastery of both personal and environmental transformations. Ineffective responses fail to achieve or threaten the goals of adaptation. Nursing has a unique goal to assist the person's adaptation effort by managing the environment. The result is the attainment of an optimal level of wellness by the person. Part of the theory overview is where it all begins, the input. There are three types of stimuli that an individual will encounter in the environment. First off is focal stimuli. This is the primary stimuli that may be either internal or external, directly confronting the individual. Secondly is contextual stimuli. These are all of the other Next is control processes. Control processes, also known as the individual's coping mechanisms, are broken down into two subsystems, regulator and cognator. Regulator is the body's automatic and subconscious response to stimuli in an attempt to maintain homeostasis. Coping processes utilized here are that of neural, Next are effectors. Effectors are the actual action of coping and happen in a variety of different ways for a variety of different reasons. These reasons have been organized into four different groups known as adaptive modes. A nurse utilizes these modes to assess the behaviors of individuals as they contend with their internal and external environments. The physiological mode focuses on basic needs, what an individual needs to survive minimally. basic needs of physiological integrity. Continuing with effectors, we'll move to the third mode, role function mode. This mode focuses on the roles that people occupy in society. The basic need underlying the role function mode has been identified as social integrity, or the need to know who one is in relation to others so that one can act. Where do you stand in society is essentially what it's going after here. And fourthly, after the effectors, we go to adaptive and ineffective responses. These are essentially the outcomes of the effectors. When an individual copes with a stimuli in their environment, they utilize one of the adaptive modes and have either an adaptive or an ineffective response. An adaptive response is a type of response that's positive. Theory overview, adaptation level. The concept of adaptation assumes that a person is an open system who responds to stimuli from both internal and external aspects of that person. The term adaptation level refers to the point at which an individual can respond positively to the Here is a figure, person as an adaptive system, that kind of pulls all of the terms we just discussed together. So if you start on the top left of the figure, you see the input and the stimuli. This is the initial issue that the patient is having to confront. And then we move over to the right to control processes, to regulators and cognator systems. So this is the body's natural response to the stimuli. It's the coping mechanism. So this coping mechanism works through one of the effectors to create. So let's link this theory to practice. Roy provides a process for nurses to follow. There's 6 steps that are used to gather information, identify a person's needs, provide nursing care, and evaluate care outcomes. The 6-step nursing process is as follows. 1. Assessment of behavior. Which of the 4 adaptation modes is being observed? Compare patient's behavior with cultural social norms. Deem either adaptive or ineffective. Secondly, assessment of stimuli. Factors that influence behavior. Stimuli are classified as focal, contextual, or residual. To further link theory to practice, I'll provide an example case study utilizing Roy's adaptation theory. A 42-year-old man with a lifelong history of heavy smoking comes to the hospital's ER because he feels as though he cannot breathe. After an initial workup, it is found that along with COPD exacerbation, they have also using the first steps of the RAM nursing process, the nurse assesses the patient in the 4 adaptive modes. In the physiological mode, this patient is most likely coping with significant life changes and threats, such as radically new ways of utilizing oxygen and the future pain and fatigue involved with treatment. In the self-concept mode, this patient is most likely devastated at the news of this life-threatening diagnosis. Using the second step of the RAM nursing process, the nurse will assess the stimuli. The focal stimuli here is the central stimuli affecting the patient. It is the aggressive stage 4 lung cancer that's metastasized. The contextual stimuli is his history of smoking and an addiction to nicotine. The residual stimuli is the potential other medical conditions that remain unclear at this time. Examples of that are family history, an overview of the critique. Utilizing the Chin and Kramer model, Roy's adaptation theory was analyzed. When using the Chin and Kramer model to critique, the following questions are asked. Semantic clarity and structural clarity. Are the concepts defined? Do the concepts establish empirical meaning? And are the connections and reasonings within the theory understandable? Next, we have simplicity or complexity. Is this theory simple and easy to understand, or is it a theory that's So now we'll answer those questions. As far as clarity is concerned, I would say unequivocally these terms are well defined by Callista Roy, and there is a clear structure that can be followed present. Simplicity, this is one of the harder parts for this theory and where it really struggles. It is a very complex theory. It's packed very densely with great information, but requires vast amounts of time and rereading to fully grasp it. Generality, I would say it covers an incredibly wide range of nursing encounters and can be applied well to case studies and nursing phenomena in almost every aspect of nursing, whether that be in the ICU. So in conclusion, Roy's adaptation model is very clear and can be applied to a significant number of different nursing encounters. It provides a fresh and different way for nurses to assist individuals to obtain wellness and health. Her theory is comprehensive, and if used correctly, has impressive accuracy in identifying and eliminating barriers to a patient's health. Roy clearly defines her concepts, and in a broad sense, this theory can be used in almost every nursing encounter. However, the theory is too large and too abstract. In our current healthcare system, nursing is expected to be as accurate, cost-effective, and as rapid as